Good afternoon, students. Today we are going to discuss about conductometry titration. Conductometry titration is a process where the reaction mixtures electrical conductivity is observed as one reactant is added through the burette. Okay, तो हम लोग इसमें electrolyte solution का conductivity measure करते हैं, and that instrument is called as conductometer. It is also used to determine the concentration of chemical substance that is to be measured, and we also call it as analyte. तो analyte solution का हमको इसमें concentration find करना है. Now this conductometry titration is often synonymous with the conductometry in the analytical chemistry. Conductometry is used to determine the overall conductance of any solution or to analyze the end point of titration that includes ions. Now, at the equivalent point, the conductivity of the mixture suddenly observes a change. Now, conductometry titration is a process that involves regular addition of reactant to the reaction mixture, where the corresponding change in the electrical conductivity is observed and documented. So, यहाँ पर हम लोग analyte solution में दूसरा electrolyte add करेंगे और जो भी electrical conductivity changes होंगे that we will observe and record. When acid is added with the standard base solution, we can determine acid strength. The increase or decrease in the electrical conductivity to the reaction mixture is related to the change in the concentration of hydrogen and hydroxyl ions, which are responsible for conductivity. So suppose आपके electrolytic solution में H plus ions है, and then you start titration, OH minus ions आप add करेंगे. So ये जो change होगा concentration में, that will be recorded, that will be measured. So that is responsible for conductivity. Sudden change in the electrolytic conductivity can lead to the influence that a stoichiometric point has reached. Now the principle of conductometry titration, this works on the principle of conductometry that during the titration, one of the ions is replaced by another ion, and this leads to difference in the conductivity of both ions. Now, resulting in variation of conductivity of a given solution throughout the titration. So इसमें क्या है, एक electrolyte solution है, उसमें जो ions है वो दूसरे ions से replace होंगे, and that will give the difference in the conductivity of both ions. Okay, so ये जो change variation आएगा conductivity में, ये आपको record करना है. And the equivalence point is determined by using a graph of conductance versus volume of titrant. Now, मतलब हम लोग यहाँ पर एक graph plot करेंगे. On the y-axis we will plot conductance values, and on the x-axis we will take the volume of the titrant. So conductometry titration, when the neutralization, suppose we are carrying out a neutralization titration between acid and a base. Initially, what is happening? Conductivity of the solution is lower due to the addition of base. Okay, the reason behind this is that H plus ions are replaced by the cationic part of the base. After the equivalence point is reached, concentration of entities of the ion increases. Okay, hence the conductance will increase. When plotted graphically, we can therefore observe two lines that are straight in nature and opposite slope. The point at which these two lines meet is called as equivalence point. So ये subsequent slides में हम देखेंगे acid base titration का graph कैसे होता है. Okay, so we will first see what factors the electric conductivity of the solution depends. Okay, so this is the electrochemical method of analysis for the determination or measurement of the electrical conductance of the electrolyte solution by means of conductometer. So there are four things on which this electrical conductivity depends. One is type of ions, second is concentration of ions, temperature and mobility of ions. So the main principle involved in this method is the movement of ions. So a movement of ions will create the electrical conductivity. The movement of ions is mainly dependent on concentration of ions. The electrical conductance in accordance with the Ohm's law is which states that the strength of the current passing through the conductor is directly proportional to the potential difference, and it is inversely proportional to resistance. So we know that Ohm's law equation, V is equal to IR, or I is equal to V upon R. So I will be, I means the जो current pass होता है that is proportional to potential difference, that is V, inversely proportional to the resistance. Okay, so now what is the if we see the instrumentation part, the instrument which is used for measuring the conductance, we call it as conductometer. इसमें दो parts हैं, one is current source and the other one is conductivity cells. Okay, so current source, mechanical high frequency AC generator by Washburn. DC current इसमें नहीं use होता है because electrodes being polarized, leading to high self resistance. Now conductivity cells जो है, these are made up of pyrex or the quartz, and they're fitted with the two platinum electrodes that should be placed in a vessel containing water to maintain constant temperature. तो यहाँ पर हमारे पास 3 types है, wide mouth cell, cell for reactions producing precipitation, and we have dip type of cells. Now electrodes जो बनते हैं, that is platinum sheets, each one having 1 centimeter square, and they are fixed at a distance of 1 centimeter. और जो surface that is coated with platinum black to avoid polarization, effect and increase the effective surface area. The platinization of electrodes is done by coating the solution of 3% chloroplatinic acid and lead acetate to get uniform coating. Electrode usage depends on the conductivity and concentration. If concentration is low, then electrode should be largely and closely packed. So let us see how the measurement of conductivity is done. The instrument used to measure the conductance is called conductance bridge or conductometer. So here you can see the conductivity cell, and this is your solution to be analyzed. Resistance will be R2, and here it is R1. Okay, and this is the meter bridge. Okay, so it can be the classical circuit जो हम लोग यूज करते हैं वो Wheatstone bridge है, और दूसरे भी अलग टाइप्स के ब्रिज हम लोग यूज कर सकते हैं, कॉल्ड्रैश कंडक्टेंस ब्रिज, या फिर डायरेक्ट रीडिंग कंडक्टेंस ब्रिज, फिलिप्स कंडक्टेंस ब्रिज, पोलार्ड्स कंडक्टेंस ब्रिज, एंड पाइस कंडक्टेंस ब्रिज. So now we will see how we are going to do the conductometry titration. So this is your conductometer. There are 2 electrodes which will be connected, and these 2 electrodes will be dipped into the electrolyte solution. So you can see this is a beaker, and you have the electrodes which are dipped in the solution. Okay, so the determination of the end point of titration by conductivity measurement is your conductivity titration. So जैसे ही आप burette से दूसरा analyte add करेंगे, during the course of titration conductivity change होगा because there is a change in the number of and the mobility of ions. फिर end point पे there is a sharp change in the conductivity of the solution, and that is shown by intersection of lines in the graph. We will plot the graph of conductivity versus volume of titrant added. Now, advantages of conductometry titration. The advantages are, the prime advantage is that it can be used for very dilute solutions and colored solution. It can also be used for systems that involve relatively incomplete reactions. Secondly, it does not require any indicators because the process of titration is based on the conductance of solution, and the endpoint can be determined graphically. It is applicable for colored solutions as well. Due to the graphical determination of the endpoint, more accurate result with the minimum error can be observed. Conductometry titration is a process which is used for analysis of weak acid and bases, turbid suspensions, and a mixture of strong acid and weak acids. Despite the advantages, certain disadvantages are there. The conductometry titration technique, only few specific redox reactions can be carried out, and it shows less accurate results when the total electrolyte concentration is high in the solution. So this makes it less satisfactory. Conductometry titration applications. It has a lot of application in analytical chemistry. They're used to determine purity of water by checking the pollution level of various water bodies. Conductometry titration is also used to examine alkalinity of the fresh water and the salinity of the seawater. Conductometry is used in the food industry by microbiologists to trace the microorganisms. Application of conductometry titration is also found in pharmaceutical industry. It is used to check the basicity of organic acids and to detect antibiotics. It is used to determine the purity of distilled water or the freshness by examining the chemical equilibrium in ionic reactions.